people to think that, well, why hasn't Hillary been arrested? Why hasn't Podesta been arrested? Why hasn't George Soros been arrested? Why haven't all these people, McComey and McCabe, and why haven't all these people that have been doing all these treasonous acts, let's try Obama, why have they not been arrested yet? Well, because he has to get everybody in place, and he needs to have people that are going to be there in Washington, D.C., in Congress, that will stand with him and help him get our country back to being the Republican form of government that we're supposed to do, where it is a country that is run by we, the people, and not a bunch of unelected bureaucrats. Mm-hmm. The other thing, Mark, that I want to touch on is we all know about the bureaucratic agency.
Mm-hmm.
All of these 3-letter agencies, 4-letter agencies that we've got at the federal level, and of course they're mirrored at the state level.
Yeah, the NSA, CIA, yeah.
Right. The FBI, the CIA, the NSA, the OMB, the DOJ. The list goes on and on and on.
But the biggest culprit though, is our State Department. Though. Our biggest culprit is our own State Department. That's the biggest one.
Well, but this is what's happened is the Constitution says that the legislature, Congress, the House and Senate, they are to make laws. They are to pass the laws that are either signed into law or vetoed by the President of the United States. But instead, they have created a bunch of bureaucratic agencies, and then they told these agencies, you make the rules, you make the regulations. Mm-hmm. And if people violate those rules and regulations, well, you guys can deal with those people that violate those rules and regulations. Well, there's a problem. That's unconstitutional. And a good law is a law that everybody can understand what they can do and what they cannot do. Mm-hmm. For example, I can drive my car. Mm-hmm. I cannot legally drive my car into a crowd of people.
Right.
That would be breaking the law. But they've made all these rules and regulations that people don't even know that they have violated. I'm going to give you guys a great example of an overreach. There's a farmer in Millersburg and in Jefferson here. A couple years ago, the Santiam River, which is an intrastate river, it is not an interstate river, was eroding his farmland. So he went to the State of Oregon Corps of Engineers and said, what do I do? It is eroding my land. They told him how to fix it. He said, asked very plainly, do I need a permit? They said, no, you do not need a permit to do that. So he put in the riprap, he put in the boulders, he did everything like he was told to do to keep the river from eroding a bunch of his farmland. The DEQ comes along and starts fining him at $30,000 a day.
Wow.
$30,000 a day. Insanity. Because they were claiming that he was disrupting the flow of the river and that he'd made the water too warm for fishes right where the rocks were. They were making all these illegal allegations against Mr. Case.
The EPA. Yeah, EPA. This is the Environmental Protection Agency. Yeah, EPA. Yeah.
The EPA, not the DEQ, Oregon, the EPA. And so one day Bill said at a meeting that I was at, he goes, I don't know how much it is. And I said, I do, because I did the math. I go, it's $900 million. You've got that in your bank account, don't you? This is a prime example of an agency created that we don't need, that is overstepping its boundaries, just like the BLM overstepping their boundaries, that is running roughshod and is taking away people's right of happiness with their property and being able to take care of their property. Mm-hmm. And so that's just an example of an agency of a regulation that is out of control. Mm-hmm. And these types of things need to end, and they are ending thanks to President Trump. And again, I will be the type of person, I'm not a yes person at all. I'm probably more of a why person, but I do the research, and I look at as many different sides of the story or the information that I can. Now, when I'm in Washington, D.C., I make a promise. When there is a bill to vote on, number one, my staff and I are going to take the bill and we will split it up amongst ourselves. and we will start reading through the bill. We'll each take a section. We're going to make sure that that bill is 100% constitutional. It is clearly a bill that is within the role of the federal government. If it is something that is not specifically enumerated in the Constitution, then it means that that is something that is left to the states. I have to vote no, because it is time, past time, that the federal government stop meddling in the state affairs. Each state is sovereign unto itself. We have our own laws follow here in each of our states.
Right.
So that's the number one thing. If we are not given sufficient time to read the bills, I'm going to have to vote no on it, because I will not pass it before I know what is in it. I think that's insane to do such a thing.
Yeah, Nancy Pelosi did that. Nancy Pelosi was like, "We got to run with Obamacare. What she do? We got to read it before we actually got it passed before I actually read it." Well, it's like having a foundation, but you got no lumber before building a house.
Well, right, exactly. So no more that you got to pass it before you know what's in it types of things. It's absolutely ridiculous. So that's just part of what it is that I will stand firm on that. So I am, as I said at the beginning, I'm a constitutionalist. We have a job to do as members of Congress, and we need to make sure that we're doing the job that we're elected to do. And I'm not there to do favors for people. I'm not there to, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. That's not what the job is. The number one job of the federal government is to protect our country from foreign invasion and domestic invasion, from all enemies, both foreign and domestic. That's the number one job. The number two job is to make sure that commerce is smooth between the states. That's the number two job. You mentioned before we started about gun control, and that's a hot topic here in Oregon. There's some measures that they want to do. It's IP 43 revisited, friends, so check that out. But it's going to be unconstitutional. What they're talking about at the federal level, I do not believe that President Trump will sign if the Senate were to approve it. It's nonsense what they're talking about. President Trump has been very, very clear that we will not lose our Second Amendment rights. He carries. He has a concealed carry permit. He understands how important it is that we are secure in our persons and that we have the right to defend ourselves. He understands that. He will not let our rights go away. He's not going to have us go back to a single shot, reload type of firearm. That's not going to happen.
Like saber guns and saber bullets. Remember Justin Elders? What did she do? Remember Justin Elders? That's under Clinton, under the I'm going to say Bubba, the Clinton administration. Bubba. She had saber guns and saber bullets.
And then the background checks. A lot of people have been asking about the background checks and the universal background checks. Well, to say that there's a
mental illness problem.
That's a bunch of people who don't know what they're talking about, because there is no such thing as a gun show loophole.
Right.
You have a background check done. Are there holes in the system? Yes. But we've also seen times when people who should be able to get a firearm are denied a firearm because, oh my gosh, they might do something crazy. Ammon Bundy comes to mind because he was just denied the right to buy a firearm recently, and they would not allow his wife to buy a firearm, but yet the man is not convicted of anything, and there is no red flag laws federally. I don't know if there is red flag laws in the state that Ammon lives in.